FloKnows.
Who cares?
Hello and welcome back to the channel. This is my prediction for the UFC 317 Ilia Topuria versus Charles Oliveira card. Before we go into this, please, if you enjoy my content, consider subscribing, liking the video, and please comment so I can have a little talk with you guys. All right. So far, so good. We move right into the first fight of the night. We have in the middleweight division, we have Christopher Evert versus Jackson McVeigh. Yeah, I think this is a duel of the undefeated prospects, both making their debuts. McVeigh seems to be well-rounded, but I doubt that he can handle Evert's stand-up. If Evert can defend the takedowns, I think he's going to get the TKO finish at some point. We move on. Heavyweights, Jonathan Diniz versus Elvin Hines. Hines comes into the UFC with a lot of momentum and finishes under his belt. And Diniz just got checked by Marcin Tybura, whose fighting style is kind of similar to the ones of Hines, but I think that Hines is more aggressive. So, Hines might even eat some shots in this fight, but he has eaten a lot of shots in the past and he didn't flinch, so I think he will eventually break Diniz, whether it's standing up or by ground and pound, I don't know. All I know is that Hines likes to set up his single leg takedowns from power strikes. He usually gets his opponent in a off-balance, surprised situation whenever he goes for the takedown because they're just thinking about striking. He also has takedowns coming from and after head kicks, so he's tricky with that. And I think he's going to get it done. I think he's going to get the TKO victory over Jonathan Diniz. And we move on. The last fight of the Fight Pass prelims is in the welterweight division, Nico Price versus Jacoby Smith. Yeah. They took a 50-50 veteran in Nico Price to test another prospect. Nico Price might be the kindest test to Jacoby Smith they could have found, because Smith is a vicious striker, and Nico Price has been clipped a lot of times in the last couple of years. And I think if Price doesn't land one of his weird signature shots like his bottom hammer fists against Randy Brown, then we should get a TKO for Jacoby Smith. I'm really excited about his debut. I'm really excited about it. We'll see how far he's going to be able to take it. We move on. ESPN prelims, first fight, lightweight division. Terrence McKinney versus Vyacheslav Borshchev. This should be a fight to get McKinney back on track, but Borshchev is a good counter-striker. And that has always been problematic for Terrence McKinney in the past. But if Borshchev does not catch him, I think he's going to be able to get a decision victory here. Borshchev is just granite chin, so getting a TKO might be far-fetched. I think decision for Terrence McKinney, but Borshchev is dangerous. We move on. Flyweight division for the women, we have Viviane Araujo versus Tracy Cortez. Guys, we're gonna get a decision here, I'm sure. They both has basically all of the wins are decisions and most of the losses are decisions too. So yeah, we're gonna get a decision here. Viviane Araujo has shown on multiple occasions that she is top 10. But not top 5. Cortez only lost to Rose so far, which was a close fight, and she was the last woman to beat Jasmine Jasudavicius, which is impressive in itself. Hence, I'm leaning towards Tracy Cortez on this one by decision, of course. Moving on. Featherweight division, we have Haider Amil versus Jose Miguel Delgado. They both kind of have been impressive so far, but I took major points away from either guy's debut. From Emil's debut, I took away two things. One, he's a very tough fighter. Two, he's very small for featherweight. From Delgado's fight, I only took away one major thing, and that is that he's a great counterpuncher. For this fight, that means Emil is probably not going to be big enough to take Delgado down, and he does not have the stand-up to compete with Delgado's counter-strikes. So, in my opinion, Delgado will get the better standing up and catch Emil a couple of times. The question becomes how tough Hydra Emil really is. And I think we're going to get a TKO victory sooner or later by Jose Miguel Delgado. We move on. Middleweights. Jack Hermanson versus Gregory Rodriguez. Last fight of the ESPN prelims. It's an interesting matchup. I give the power advantage to Gregory Rodriguez and the experience to Jack Hermanson. If this were a 5-round fight, like a Fight Night main event or something like that, I would give it to Hermanson. But in 3, I think Gregory Rodriguez is going to take it. Going to be close though. Close fight. I don't know where either guy would have a big advantage. I don't know. Pretty well rounded both. I'm predicting Rodriguez by decision. We move on. Main card starts with the bantamweights. Peyton Talbot versus Felipe Lima. Boy, the UFC wants to boost Peyton Talbot even after that horrific performance in his last fight. They put him in a highlight spot, opening the main card. They give him Felipe Lima, who's on paper a really good test. He hasn't lost since his MMA debut. And Peyton Talbot has just lost. But I think he's going to bounce back with this one. After getting out grappled, they give him a predominant striker, so he can get back on track, I think. Yeah, it's simple as that. Lima, of course, has a chance because they're both strikers. They both have the knockout power, but I think Peyton Talbot is just technically better and gonna get the TKO at some point in the fight. We move on. Lightweights. Benil Dariush versus Renato Moicano. 1 second. Yeah, okay. They're both known for their grappling, and they both only lost to top 5 competition. But here's the big difference. Benil Dariush's last victory was in 2022. Also, he tends to start very, very slow, especially if he's facing another grappler. Moicano's style is very aggressive and his BJJ is very good, and I think just his aggressiveness should actually be the deciding factor here. I think Moicano by decision. Moving on. Flyweights. Brandon Royval versus Joshua Van. Joshua Van gets another fight this month, I think he fought already. It's a really, really, really big test for Joshua Van, especially on 3 weeks notice, especially against a tricky cat like Brandon Royval, who's just super tall at flyweight, and he only lost to, he lost to Moreno, but he got injured, so he lost to Moreno, he got injured more. It was not like he got beaten after his injury, so, and he avenged that loss. Other than that, he only lost to Pantoja, who's the king at flyweight, so Joshua Van's best way to victory would be avoid the takedowns and outvolume Brandon Royval on the feet. But I don't think that's possible. I think Royval has the better stand-up. So unless Joshua Van lands a lucky punch, it's going to be a decision victory for Orval, I think. We move on. Co-main event of the evening. We have the flyweight kingpin Alexandre Pantoja versus Kai Kara-France. Flyweight gold on the line. Whether or not Kai Kara-France deserves the title shot is debatable, but he got it anyway, so let's just talk about the fight and not how we got here. In my opinion, Pantoja has shown everything during his run. He has shown toughness, he's shown great grappling, which he has always had, and he's developed KO power. And his stamina is second to none. So, unless Kai Kara-France can crack him, or crack his iron chin, I should say, then I think he's going to get caught sooner or later by the superior grappler and Pantoja. Submission for Alexandre Pantoja, in my opinion. We move on. Main event of the evening. We have the lightweights, Ilia Topuria versus Charles Oliveira. Newly lightweight Ilia Topuria, of course, I should say. On paper, this should be an easy prediction for me. Topuria is a very technical striker with a lot of power, and these matchups have always been problematic for Charles Oliveira. But, and there's a very, very big but, Topuria's only fight at lightweight was against Jay Herbert and gave me major concern. Jay Herbert had him stumbling around in the first round and barely surviving. With another referee, he would have been stopped. That's how close it was. It would have been maybe an early stoppage, but there are referees that would have stopped that fight right then and there. That's how close it was. And I don't think that he can grow in size that much, and he looked tiny against Jay Herbert. So I think Topuria should have the advantage in this, but Charles Oliveira is always dangerous. You could always catch him. So my prediction is a TKO victory for Ilia. But last time I checked, I think the odds were like 8-1. In that case, I would bet money on Oliveira because I think it's just worth it. Because he always has a chance, especially over 5 rounds against a guy like Ilia Topuria. The question is whether or not Topuria's power translates to 155 as well as he hopes. All right. Those are my picks. And yeah, now we're gonna... good. Those are my picks. I'm gonna move my face so you can see them all. And we're gonna make a quick rundown, meaning a run up, because we're starting at the bottom. Christopher Evert will get a TKO against Jackson McVeigh. Alvin Hines, another TKO against Jonathan Diniz. Jacoby Smith gets a TKO against Nico Price. Terence McKinney, just a decision against Vyacheslav Borshev. Tracy Cortez, of course, a decision against Viviane Araujo. Jose Miguel Delgado, a TKO against Haider Amil. Gregory Rodriguez, a decision against Jack Hermanson. Peyton Talbot, a TKO against Felipe Lima. Renato Moicano, a decision against Benil Dariush. Brandon Royval, a decision against Joshua Van. Alexandre Pantoja, a submission against Kai Kara-France. And finally, Ilia Topuria, a TKO against Charles Oliveira. And now we're going to talk a little bit about the card because I don't want to talk much about the card. The card's just bad. For a numbered event, that's a bad card. Really a bad card. Weak in name power, weak in star power, weak in rankings. It's not a good numbered event. I'm just going to say it. If it was in Abu Dhabi, it probably would have double the star power. But it's not. It's in Nevada. So Las Vegas does not get the good fights anymore. And that's that for today. we'll leave on that sad note. All right, you guys. I hope you enjoyed. Please consider leaving a like, subscribe, and or comment on my channel and my videos. And yeah, I'm gonna make more. And this time, I'm actually gonna be able to watch the fights, and I will watch it live, and I will later on make a reaction video. So this time, finally, we're back to being on time. But after that, it's gonna be tricky because. I work, can I say overseas? I'm not sure if it's the correct term, but I have to leave my country and take a flight over an ocean to a destination where I'll be working for a couple of months. And I don't know how my schedule is going to be then, whether or not I'll be able to upload or be able to watch the fights even and give you my reaction later. We'll see. I will make prediction videos, but when, I'm not sure about yet either. And there might be 1 or 2 weeks without them because I just have to settle in at the new place because I'm moving there for 4 months. All right. All right. That's enough information for now. I hope you guys have a good weekend. I hope we all get good fights. See you guys. Have a good time.